Hey there, welcome back, people. Oh my gosh, my voice is almost gone. That's what I get for hosting like a 3-hour stream earlier today, talking about all the fire-type Pokemon in Draft League format and their viability. It ended up becoming very much, in a lot of ways, like tiers, but fire type's a bit more one-dimensional than some types are. Anyway, biscuits and beer. All right, we're back again. Sorry for whatever reason, my voice is just being stupid right now. Anyway. News came out today, or yesterday actually, that we are doing a suspect test. I say we, I mean Smogon University is doing a suspect test on, of course, the viability or over-viability of Scizor in the UU tier. Now, Scizor is obviously one Pokemon that we don't need any introduction about. I mean, this is one of those that, you know, the article, which I'll have a link in the description below, it has everything you need to know about Scizor if you don't already know about Scizor. Scizor is a Pokemon that even as a non-mega was an OU for a long time, and really it got dropped down to UU just because of the fact that the new generation came out, and so a lot more things came out, and so its usage went down, and then it just kind of came in there and, you know, found a little niche role in the UU ladder. But of course the thing is that over time and as things get banned out of UU, because what happens a lot of times is we'll have things that will go from OU by usage all the way to UU, but then we realize that in UU they're just a bit overpowered in the UU, so we have to actually ban them out of UU, to where even if they're not being used enough to be formally OU Pokemon, they're in this like kind of purgatory sort of called UU borderline. That's how it is for every single tier, by the way. It's how it is for every single tier, except for, you know, from OU to Ubers. They're just basically OU, and there's Ubers. There's technically a little spot called OU by technicality, sort of, but really it's just OU and then straight Ubers. But so Scizor is a Pokemon that has great face-breaking potential. They're doing this vote essentially in the early part of June, on Sunday, June 2nd. This will be really much a very much of an interesting vote. I know in the past on this channel, well, not on this channel, but on my other channel, whenever they had one of these votes or whatever, I was super like anti and say like no, and maybe I'm just old now or whatnot, or it's just honestly that I'm not as aggressive against it. Really, when it comes down to it, I believe that there are certain Pokemon that operate above par or can operate better. And let's be honest, Steel types are still very powerful, very annoying. Pokemon in general, when they released the Fairy types, they really buffed up the Steel types that much more, and they really haven't done much since to effectively nerf them. They really haven't, in my opinion. I mean, in fact, in many ways, I think they helped them. For instance, when they nerfed Scald in going from Generation 6 to 7, they kind of helped them out a little bit, because, you know, now, you know, your Pokemon like Scizor, we're not taking as much of health damage from burn every single turn, so they could, you know, some of them could actually just ignore it and go for some swords dances and possibly still beat the crap out of your face. It's just more or less an opportunity is what I'm trying to say. Now, I'm going to be a lot more defensive of a ban from OU to Ubers, because there's a lot of Mons that when they can't really make that jump. They can't really. They're good in OU, very good in OU, but they're not really good in Ubers. Now, I'm still going to be very fair in this, and I will say this right now: Scizor is a Pokemon that surprised me that it was down in here, and the reason why is because it's basically Mega Scizor, but with the opportunity to run items, and that's what makes it super scary. Now, granted, Scizor Mega, you know, with Scizor is not really a Pokemon that you're going to run like a band on it very often. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still, you know, there's still a lot of sets that use the choice band on there, but, you know, usually what you see a lot of are going to be, you know, some type of like berry variant to be able to, you know, take the hit, you know, be able to, you know, absorb at least one fire attack, so that way you're not just dying straight up to HP fire. You know, usually you're going to see something to be able to allow you flexibility of usage, not so much locking you into either straight attacks or locking you into just one move. It's not what Scizor likes to do. It's not what Mega Scizor likes to do. And Scizor essentially is the exact same thing as Mega Scizor, but just a little bit less powerful, a little bit less defensive, a little bit slower, and at the same time, a Pokemon that has the ability to have access to items. And that's really what makes Scizor so scary. Again, Steel and Bug is one of the best typings out there as far as a total typing combination. Only one weakness, it's an X4 weakness to fire, and everything else it pretty much just enjoys. I mean, it's very annoying and frustrating if your fire type Pokemon are gone to deal with Scizor at times. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can basically play your hand and get dealt and find a way to get the belt back, but it's just it's just rough. And the thing is that as certain fire type Pokemon, especially in the UU format and just fire Pokemon in general, it's frustrating. Because even then fire type Pokemon, Scizor can still whack them pretty decently, or possibly outspeed certain ones of them. It's just Scizor does so much that it makes it difficult to be able to keep it in a lower bracket, more or less. And that's why Scizor is one of those Pokemon that even with it being a non-mega, only stage 1 evolution, it's just so good, right? It's just so good. And that's really what makes Scizor essentially a dangerous Pokemon. The big question that I have for you guys, and I kind of mentioned it on here, with every generation we see essentially the overall Mon pool getting bigger, which I love that, by the way. It's one of my favorite things about Pokemon is that every year, every generation, the total number of Pokemon out there in existence get bigger. It gets to be more of those things. And if you notice, there's actually about 25 plus Pokemon that are actually in this clause now called UUBL. And you also have it, in other areas where you have, RUBL, and you have essentially the NUBL. And these are all Pokemon that essentially are, after testing or voting or what have you, we realize, hey, if we let them into this bracket, they become too centralizing, they become too powerful, they become something that you have to play around, and so we can't have them actually be part of this bracket, right? And that's what happens essentially. And with how big the Mon pool's getting at this point, and with how big everything's getting at this point, you almost wonder want to know if the Smogon will make the UUBL all the borderline tiers, where they banned it from being actually usable in that lower tier, but it's not quite by usage in the higher tier. I wonder if they would ever actually make that an official tier. I would like to see that be an official tier of play where it's, that's the bracket essentially. Now, granted, in that bracket, it would be nice to see that, because then basically you would have more of an opportunity to see some of these Pokemon really shine in their own format. And this format, of course, would be kind of awkward because there are certain things that really aren't in that grouping, simply because of the fact that it's not an official tier. But especially with this new generation getting to come out pretty soon, in about 7 months, that's soonish, right? Or 4 months, 5 months, however long it's going to be. I don't know time very well. I would like to see the in-between tiers become official tiers in this next generation. I really would. I think that would have a lot to offer as far as just more depth of play and more of just being able to give us more options. And I really like that. I really like that idea. I think that'd be really fun to actually do. And I believe that would be something that we could actually super enjoy. And I really hope that actually happens in this next generation. But with this vote for Scizor, you are able to basically vote for it one way or the other. And I recommend do vote for it to be banned out of UU, simply because of the fact that it is a Pokemon that I believe does offer a lot to teams in the OU bracket. And it is one of those that I'm surprised it has stayed in UU as long as it has. I believe part of why it's now finally becoming a target essentially is because, when you remove one Pokemon from a grouping or whatnot, you're basically giving it whatever whatever that Pokemon has a great advantage over. So say you remove Mega Sableye. Let's say you remove Mega Sableye, like they did a while ago. When you remove Mega Sableye, all of a sudden, Pokemon that Mega Sableye just absolutely crushed and basically kept under heal and it couldn't deal with, all of a sudden become that much less usable. All of a sudden become that much more openly free because now they're no longer being pressured or kept under by a very oppressive, powerful Pokemon. Scizor is one of those that is a great Pokemon. It's Mega Scizor with a little bit less power and an item access. And I really do think this would be a smart ban to remove it from the from the UU ladder and put it into the UUBL. But what do you guys think? Do you guys believe that moving it to UUBL and making UUBL as well as all the other BL tiers actually official tiers of play? Do you think that would be beneficial for Smogon to do? Would you like them to rename them if they do that? Anyway, guys, give me your thoughts below. I'm really curious about that. As always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Peace.